The best defense is a good offense. This is also known as the strategic offensive principle of war. Generally, this means taking a proactive approach to create a strategic advantage so that the opposition really can't counterattack. I'm not really here to talk about war. And although this adage is traditionally used in a military or sports or game sense, I've been saying it a lot for months in reference to our industry, and stick with me and I'll explain why. Welcome to Momentum Live. I'm Brooke Scutt. So whether you're in real estate as a professional or a homeowner or a home occupier, you're likely aware that the real estate market and the pace of the market is incredibly intense right now. So as in an industry, for the first time ever, there are more active realtors than there are active listings, which I am sure you can imagine. This is causing lots of frustration for and complication for all those involved, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or a professional in the industry. Let's run through some facts from the National Association of Realtors really quickly. In 2020, there were 5.46 million homes sold. There are estimated to be more than 3 million active real estate agents in the company. In the country. There's a difference between a realtor and a real estate agent, but that's a whole different video. There are actually 1.48 million active realtors in the U.S. as of April 2021, and then there are just over 1 million active listings in the U.S. as well. Crazy, crazy numbers. So like I said, the best defense is a good offense. And I tread lightly using the word defense because in no way do I mean defensive. Not defensive behavior, not defensive language. But like the definition of the strategic offensive principle, I want to talk about a proactive approach. And I want to help you think proactively towards this market. So the first step here is going to be knowledge and education. What you know is important. Having a core foundation of, the documents in the process. We have so many new licensees in the industry. Making sure that education is a priority is incredibly important. And the reason that I bring this up in this particular video is for those of you who have been seasoned, it's important that we have a very offensive strategy to help guide those in the industry who may not have gotten the time to be educated to the level in which we've been educated. Knowing what you don't know is important, whether you're new or seasoned in this industry. It is not a market this is not an industry at all to fake it till you make it. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. And that's another part of this. Who is your go-to for questions? And before you say, my friend down the hall or my friend in another state, what I want you to think about is that person qualified and invested in guiding you through this process? Read, are they your broker? Because that is the person who you should really be going to for guidance through this particular process. So my second point is rapport and respect. Relationships matter in this type of an environment. They matter in all types of environments. But we want to make sure that we're not burning any bridges with emotional reactions. The real estate process itself is very emotional for the clients, but we're responsible to bring the calm to the crazy in this process. And if we start getting a little chaotic between our coworkers and our peers and our colleagues, then we're bringing a little more chaos to the entire process. So we want to be careful that we're not burning any bridges. Common courtesy is always fashionable. Being rude or forceful is not an example of assertively representing your client. It's just a representative of you kind of being a jerk. And that is never acceptable in this type of, a business or any type of a professional business. Speaking of that, in business, professionalism trumps friendships always. Keep that in mind. Whether you're close to somebody in the industry or outside of the industry, professionalism is a courtesy that is owed to all of us, whether we are best friends barbecuing out on a Saturday night. When it comes to, the work week and the business, it is time to be professional and to communicate with each other professionally. Anything less than that is not acceptable. So one other thing about respect and rapport is that respect should be a two-way street, but don't forget that two wrongs don't make a right. You should always take the high road. If someone is being disrespectful in a communication with you, it doesn't mean that it's carte blanche for you to be disrespectful back to them. So the last section I want to talk about here is perspective and empathy. So first of all, empathy is not accepting bad behavior or making excuses for why somebody's doing what they're doing. But what we want to do with empathy is we want to take a moment and think about where people are coming from. We want to think about, we are limited to the information that we have on our side of the negotiation. And often we need to be sure that we're offering grace on not knowing all the other circumstances on the other side of the negotiation. Practicing empathy is really based on the presumption that each person is doing the best that they can do with the information and the circumstances that they have. But don't forget, this can include things like their knowledge, their confidence, their skills, their education, emotions, and tons of other external factors that people are doing the best that they can possibly do. So when I offer to you this a strategic offensive for the real estate industry or for the market that we're dealing with at whole, I offer you these three proactive things. Be knowledgeable, get the education that you need. Make sure that you are respectful and building rapport with your coworkers and that you are leaning into that in a professional manner. And then lastly, take a moment for perspective and empathy and exercise that in all of our doings. By educating yourself, being respectful and above reproach in your actions, and practicing empathy, you're setting up a good offensive, proactive strategy for this market. I hope you guys have a great Monday and a great week, and I'll see you guys next week.